guys, welcome back to another episode of Making Room for More. Yes, we are in the car again, one of my favorite recording studios. Just kidding. But there has been so much going on. I was like, how am I going to find the time to record and everything? And my best solution was to record while we're traveling. So Larry's here as well, but he's driving. And today I'm actually going to be answering a question that I get pretty frequently, actually. I am going to be talking about what it's like to be pregnant with twins versus what it's like to be pregnant with a singleton. So stay tuned so you can hear all about my pregnancy journey with having more than one, with having multiples, because at this point in life, I've had a twin pregnancy, a multiple pregnancy, but I've also had a singleton pregnancy. Well, it started out as a multiple, but it's ending as a singleton with Noah. And so I'll be able to talk through both of them and let you know what it is like to be pregnant with multiples. So I'm going to start with I'll start with this pregnancy, and then I'll get into what the differences were with being pregnant with multiples. So for this pregnancy, I've been really fortunate that my pregnancies have gone pretty smooth for the most part. This pregnancy, sorry if it's a little bumpy, this pregnancy is a little bit different. If you've tuned into some of our previous episodes, you know that we originally had IVF twins, and actually one passed away, or we found out right as we were getting into the second trimester. So the singleton pregnancy has been different. I will say though, it hasn't been dramatically different. Some of my symptoms have been different, and so I've talked a little bit about it before, but in the first trimester I had a lot of nausea and like morning sickness and things like that, which I did not have with the twins really at all. I have had like sensitivity to smell and like food aversions and things like that. So I had that with both pregnancies. I would say the major difference that I can think about for having just a single pregnancy this time versus the twins the first time is that I could feel a lot more movement this time. And I think that I've heard at least, a little bit that sometimes with your second pregnancy, you'll feel more just because I guess your body has experienced before. I don't really know. But this time I feel a lot more movement. Like there's been times where Noah, it feels like he's in the boxing ring or something. And I've had Braxton Hicks really for like the past couple of months that sometimes get pretty aggressive. I feel like I'll have to like stop what I'm doing. If I'm sitting up, if I'm standing up, then I'll sit down, or vice versa, just to make sure it's not the real things, because there's been a few times that I actually felt like I was going into labor. So I feel like I just feel a lot more in my belly this time versus what I did with the twins. So that was probably the main difference. I think one of the other differences too with just a single, having a single birth is like there's one child to think about. I don't know how to explain it, but when I had multiples in my stomach, it would be like both of them, and you're like, oh, I don't know which one it is that's moving or kicking or doing the different things that they're doing. But with a single birth, I know obviously that it's just Noah in there hanging out, and so that is a difference with the singleton pregnancy. And other than that, I mean, my stomach hasn't gotten as big as it did with the twins, obviously, because there's only one child in there. So I don't feel as big. Towards the end of my twin pregnancy, I got to a point where I kind of felt like a big whale or something. And with Noah, I definitely can feel my stomach, but I don't feel as big. So those are... I won't talk about every pregnancy thing that has happened, but as far as like big differences, one versus two, those are the biggest things with just one. Now, with the twin pregnancy, you know what? I had a really, really good experience. We've been really blessed for both of our pregnancies overall, aside from, losing a child with this pregnancy. But outside of that, we've really been blessed not to have a lot of complications. There's definitely things that my doctors have monitored and different things closely both times, just because of IVF and some other health things that have been going on. And so with the twins, I think that there was just, I could definitely tell a greater physical demand on my body. So like being pregnant with Noah, there were definitely times where I had to catch my breath and different things like that. But with the twins, it just, I mean, you could just tell that there was like so much more going on in your body. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, for example, standing for long periods of time or like doing simple tasks, I would get really, really, really exhausted very easily. And there was actually a couple of times where I almost like passed out. I wasn't even doing anything significant, but I think just like I don't know if it's chemical makeup is the right wording, but just like the demands on growing 2 fetuses and growing 2 children inside of your body, on top of like me functioning on my own, there was just a lot of like demand on my physical strength and different things like that. And so I could definitely tell a difference with that pregnancy and kind of like the physical demands versus this pregnancy. One of the other big things was back pain. So with the twins, I would say right around the 2nd trimester and definitely in the 3rd trimester, my lower back would hurt pretty significantly. Like it would just be sore. It wasn't like excruciating. I'm the type of person that I kind of just like take things on the chin and just roll with it. And so it wasn't debilitating or anything like that, but I could feel pain in my lower back. And towards the end, I was so big that I got to the point where I really couldn't like get in and out of the bed by myself. I couldn't put my shoes and socks on by myself. It was just very hard, very challenging to like bend over and things like that. And actually with the single pregnancy, I've been able to put my shoes, depending on what shoes they were, for the most part, I've been able to put my shoes on the whole time. Now it might take me a little bit longer, and sometimes if Larry was around, he would assist me because he didn't want to see me struggle. But with the twins, it was not happening. If I didn't have a pair of flip-flops or slides, there was going to be no shoes on my feet that day if Larry was not around. So just the demands on the body. And one of the other things with the twins right towards the end was I had a lot of swelling, like a lot of swelling in my feet and my legs. I have a picture. I don't know if I can still dig it up. If I can, I'll link it. But I just got to a point where my feet felt like they were going to split apart when I was walking. I remember going to work because I was a little bit more, I don't even know what the word is. With the twins, I pushed myself probably a little bit too hard. I did probably a little bit too much. And I really probably should have slowed down a lot earlier, but I never did. So nonetheless, I was at work and I remember like walking down the hallway and everyone was looking at me like, Amber, what? First of all, why are you even here? And what are you doing? Like, I just got to the point where I could not even walk because my feet were so swollen and they felt like they were really gonna like rip apart. So that was something that was very different the first time around, having multiples. And I also felt like this time and if you've watched any of the previous episodes, I definitely find myself catching my breath and different things like that. But the first time with multiples, it was like constantly, like I was trying to catch my breath and breathe and sit down and all of those kind of things. One of the other things too, and I don't know that this was anything associated with multiples, but my voice got really deep. My voice got extremely deep. So I don't know if it was because there were like more hormones flowing through my system because there were 2 of them but that was something else that happened with the twins. And so overall, I would say that the experience was similar, but it was different. It was very different. And it also could be too that with different pregnancies, you might have different experiences. I've talked to other women and they're like, yeah, the first child was like this and the second child was like this. But I think that the main difference that I could pinpoint, like I said, with the twins is more of just like the physical demands, like more physically like draining. I was probably a little bit more fatigued than I was for this pregnancy, harder to move around and breathe, and my stamina just wasn't as much as it was this time. So those are my thoughts as far as what was like to have twins versus a singleton. I can't say like one or the other. Honestly, if I compare the two, I can't say like one or the other was easier because there were different experiences. If I had to compare or pick between the two, like, would you rather have multiples or single? Honestly, it was like pregnancy. So, I'm very blessed. It was a very good experience. So, those are my thoughts on a twin pregnancy versus a single pregnancy. If you have more questions about it, if you have more thoughts, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. See, I'm out of breath right now. So, I don't know. That's just part of it. But like, comment, subscribe, and continue to follow us on our journey. At this point, I am full term, so things in the future are going to look very different. But I wanted to answer a question that I get pretty frequently, and now that I can compare the two, I think I have a pretty good perspective. So that's about it. Until we see you next time.